few days back, I was listening to my radio in my car on my lunch break, and a ad came on that was sponsored by a local college, if I remember correctly. It stated that people with a college degree had somewhere in the ballpark of half the level of unemployment that people without a college degree had. It was interesting, and I wanted to share my thoughts on that to you. I think it's generally true, and they probably have good research to back it up, but I wanted to kind of get into the reasons behind that, because I think that they're somewhat telling about the current economic situation we're in. The United States traditionally, and what really brought our economy up, was our manufacturing industry. We had the auto industry. You also had coal, oil. Very far back, you had cotton. There were a number of industries that gave us the economy that we have and led us up to the level that we are currently at. And traditionally, those fields I've stated, and most of the fields that brought us to that point, are ones where the employees or the workers are primarily manual labor, semi-skilled, and skilled labor. There weren't technicians and programmers, things like that. Now, some of that obviously is simply due to the advancement of technology. 100 years ago, there was no need for computer programmers. Nonetheless, there's still a need for welders, for machinists, for manual laborers. Keep in mind, we still have to grow the food that we eat. And farming, unless you're the owner of the farm, planning out your operations based on climate, different factors, what's popular, what's profitable, and what's not, almost all your work is going to be manual labor and semi-skilled labor. Traditionally, these are jobs that you don't really need college for. Your average steel worker, let's say back in the days when the Empire State Building was being built, never went to college. In fact, most of their family never went to college. And yet, these were, on the backs of these workers, our country expanded to the incredible might that it had economically. So, traditionally, the United States has been an economy of labor and semi-skilled and skilled labor, which are not as don't have as much requirement for a college education. However, of late, and it started, as far back as 100 years ago, you started to see a shift towards larger government, more regulations, more laws, and what has happened is, like it or not, at the same time that these regulations and laws have increased, our economic growth has decreased. It could be, you could assume that the two are related and that excess regulation has stifled economic development. Even if you don't, that relationship exists. But what has happened, and the reason that people with college degrees, especially in things like legal, lawyers, legal assistants, people with financial degrees, with statistics, people that are good at crunching numbers, looking at laws, at regulations, at theories, and applying them to life, have seen an expansion in the demand for that particular skill set. And it's not only because you have bureaucrats creating these excess regulations and implementing them, which requires manpower, but you also have the people who are trying to exist within them. Companies having to hire large numbers of financial planners and legal assistants to help them understand the laws that they're expected to follow. Now, admittedly, yes, that does create jobs in that sector. But ultimately, it's the death of the economy. It'd be kind of like saying that cancer boosts the economy because doctors have to be, new medical fields have to be created, more medical research has to be done, more care has to be provided. Never mind that the root cause is a negative. To close, I guess let's use this analogy. Aboard a sinking ship, people more able to bail are less likely to be thrown overboard. So while it may be true that people with college degrees have a better chance of getting hired, the reasons for that may not be so optimistic.